Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this edition of Unpopular Review. While you're at it, why don't you give us a follow on these beautiful social media platforms known as Facebook and Twitter at Unpopular Review. But there's another one. Give us a follow on Instagram. We got funny pictures, we got updates, and we have things where we tell you everything that's going on. So why don't you give us a follow on Instagram at unpopular.review. And now, back to the show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We have another show, another Bond episode. And full disclosure, this is actually my favorite Bond. But it's called Casino Royale, and we're going to get to it, and we're going to bring in a couple of people. We're going to start, though, tonight. Instead of going with the executive who has the executive consultant, so we're going to go with the lady who picked this movie and beat me to the punch. Her name is C. the Superior. C, how you doing?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing well. I'm glad to have beaten you to the punch because it's a great pick, if I do say so myself.
And that's true. And speaking of punch, would you like to tell the audience what you're drinking tonight?
Just a little, water, keeping myself hydrated.
That water is awfully tainted. Is there anything else in that water?
It's Crystal Light. You add it to your water, it brings out the flavors.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's watch her sip to see if there's any reaction. All right. Let's bring in Blofeld before we get to the executive consultant. His name is Vic tonight. Hello, sir. You're in silhouette tonight.
Oh,
would you like to tell the audience why that is?
Yo, word up. Let me switch the lights. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
Always ready and Johnny on the spot.
There we go. Oh, it's Vic. Vic, I thought it was Blofeld. I'm sorry, Vic.
You can see me now.
We can see you now. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Fantastic. Got to see some pieces of the movie liked so far. But the bottom is I have to see them all. I have to see everything. I have to see that. That's because you know what? And one thing that I realized, it's like Star Wars. You're only going to get it if you see all of it.
Mm-hmm. And to clarify, you said that you saw all of this movie, or you saw bits and pieces?
No, I mean I watched it twice actually, but I just kept getting interrupted. That was the issue. So and one thing that I noticed with this movie, you have
Well, Vic, hold on. Vic is so excited to be on the show, ladies and gentlemen, that he's jumping into our first segment, but we haven't introduced everybody.
We haven't. Go ahead. Sorry.
Here we have the executive consultant. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. I was just waiting my time. Vic was about to go.
Did he do the seat shuffle? Did he do the seat shuffle?
First of all, if he did the seat shuffle, you would have heard it, just like you heard him take his headphones off. But more importantly than that, he started off saying, "Here's the thing." We said, "Here's the thing." I decided to pour myself a cup of tea because I knew we were going to be here a while. Right? What do you think? Hold on.
I need one of those actually. I need one of those.
Let me. You probably need what's in that wine glass. But let me ask you a question. What do you think is more? We think more long-winded. Vic's here's my thing before he goes into a description, or James when he's rebutting somebody's comment. I don't know. Somebody let me know. Let's go ahead and get into the first part we're doing. I don't know. I don't run the show.
Well, no.
Actually, you should do a poll on that.
Because C. the Superior, she picked this movie, and we want to know why that is. Why did you pick this one?
Okay, so I picked this movie because this is the James Bond that I'm most familiar with. Daniel Craig and these, early 2000 movies are the ones that I know. I picked it because these are my favorite set of Bond movies. Again, admittedly, I haven't really seen the other ones all the way through until recently, but these really drew you in. And I picked it because, again, these are the ones I'm most familiar with. Love it.
Okay. We're gonna go into our first segment, which is best of, worst of. And since you picked it, you started. You got it.
All right. So I have a couple best of scenes. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. My first best of scene was the scene at Miami airport where he's pretty much going after the bomber there. And specifically when you have first of all, this movie is action packed. This is a very physical Bond, more than the other Bonds that I think we've seen. He's, very much, fighting and doing all this like action stuff. He's a real action hero in this film. So my favorite scene was when the Bond is on top of I think it's called the Rex truck or something like that, and the bomber was steering into or really close to an oncoming truck, and just in the nick of time, Bond like just jumps out of the way. He almost gets run over, but he's safe. And I was like, this is really adrenaline pumping. I was just watching and I was just like, oh my goodness, my pulse was out of the roof. So that was probably my first of my favorite scenes. My second favorite scene was the bathroom scene with Vesper and Bond, because let me say here, she's my favorite Bond girl. She's very much intellectually his equal. And
I'm sorry, Chris, we have a comment here.
What?
Let me just put this on the screen. Oh, it's Christopher Harris. He says, hi, everyone.
Hi.
I wanted to stop your flow to read the comment from one Christopher Harris.
Hi, Christopher.
Hey, he's being polite. At least he's speaking to everybody.
Well, thank you, Christopher. You look awfully young. Thank you, Christopher, for watching this show. We hope you're a Bond fan. Chris, please do continue.
So again, Vesper's my favorite Bond girl because she's intellectually his equal. I like the exchange that they have. Also in the meet cute, which they talk to each other in the.
Wait a minute. What when you say the bathroom scene? What part of the movie is that?
Okay, I'm jumping. So the bathroom scene is right before they go into the poker tournament.
You're talking when they're in the hotel?
Yeah, when they're in the hotel. And he comes in very Sean Connery-esque, said, here, put this dress on. I want you to look a certain way. When they come in, when you come in, I want all eyes to be on you, right? Mm-hmm. And she's okay. She's like, okay, sure. She's getting ready. Then he walks out and he sees that, hold on, she has a suit picked out for him. He's like, I already have a suit. And I don't want to get too far into it because I'll bring it up later in the show. But I just thought that exchange between them, and also the exchange between them and the meet cute on the train, was just very, they're very tit for tat. She can keep up with Bond, but also she's not, unlike other Bond girls, she's not like, she can't do everything. You'll see that later in the stairwell. She's not like a fighter or like some kind of super spy where she magically pulls out a gun and like it has perfect aim or anything. Like she still has her flaws. She's not perfect, but intellectually, she's right there with him. So let me just go into my least favorite scene because I don't want to run too long. My least favorite scene is the scene in the museum where they have that standoff between him and the guy, I can't remember his name at the moment, but the husband of the woman he sleeps with earlier in the movie, or attempts to sleep with earlier in the movie. Because it just seems a little too dramatic. Like specifically when the villain pulls out the knife behind him and he's walking behind him. And it's very much like I'm holding this guy hostage. I feel like people would notice. And the killing of him, it's just, I didn't like that one as much. But that's just me being nitpicky because I did enjoy the movie. But who would like to go next?
Well, let me just say while they're deciding who wants to go next, because I have a lot of them, I'll go last. I'm surprised that you consider Vesper a Bond girl.
You don't?
No.
Why?
For the reasons that you just said.
Because she's intelligent.
She's every much as equal. She's not some random, woman that he meets on the beach collecting conches, no pun intended. She's a star of this movie, in every sense of the word, and she's his intellectual equal, arguably his better. Mm-hmm. Not to go into spoiler territory, but she plays him perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would say she's a Bond girl only because the Bond girls are the love interests of the movie, and she is his love interest of that movie. In the very broadest sense of the Bond girl idea, she's a Bond girl.
I can't disagree with you, but I'll just say this to give her character so much credit, because she's probably, other than Daniel Craig as Bond and M, who I love in this movie.
Yeah, me too.
She's probably up there as my favorites. Well, I'll just say that I have a great deal of respect for her, and she does a great job. Her character is great, and I would not consider her a Bond girl because it's only after she's done the mission, her mission, that she even sleeps with Bond.
Yes.
He doesn't bed her, she beds him. Do you see what I'm saying? So I have to give her more credit than that. You know what I mean? I just, a Bond girl to me is someone that he says, "Oh, I see." Like who's the last one? Mei Lin.
So you would consider her a Bond girl?
Yes, very much. The way she's written, the way her character is written, because she's written as the Chinese version of MI6, military intelligence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's always this. It's never equals. I never see her as an equal, especially the scene on the motorcycle. It's very much like damsel in distress. He saves her. We never see her truly get to shine, and he beds her because that's what he set out to do. I'm going to bed you when I saw you at that party.
Mm-hmm.
Vesper Lynn, she's running game on him since day one. As she said, to the scene that you said is one of your favorites. I sized you up the moment I saw you.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. If it wasn't called James Bond 007, it could be yes, hands down, one of the best characters.
Speaking of James Bond 007, I credit because the best person pretty much equal. James Best also has equals in this show, and I'm really interested in hearing about some best and worst stuff from other people instead of harping too much on that. So, Vic, you want me to go?
Great character.
Fine, I got you. Vic, you want me to go or you?
All
right. I had quite a few. Oh, you'll go. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So there's a lot. So I like this movie. This movie was good, and my best of was now this was hard to pick, but I really liked.
Hold on, I know he didn't just put my picture up there. Oh no, whose picture is this?
So I really like this scene, right? And this is the scene where he loses all his money because he thought that he was gonna win. He thought that he had him, right? And then he loses, like, I think it's about $14 million. So then he's talking to the girl and he's trying to get money out of her and he can't get any money out of her. So then all of a sudden the CIA guy comes and hands him $5 million.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back, plays the game, they go back, and he ends up taking everybody's money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh man, that was great. Because when he first lost, that really made me, it really like brought me into the movie because I was just like, how's he gonna get out of this one? Because throughout this whole movie, one of the things that you kept looking at was just like, all right, how's he gonna get out of this one? All right, how's he gonna get out of this one? All right, how's he gonna get out of this one? Like, that was a reoccurring theme in this thing. So when I saw that, I was like, oh wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you. All right, now you're walking out with everybody's money. Now you got 150 M's. Look at you, nice.
And I always forget that guy's in this movie. Even when we did the review of the trailer, No Time to Die. You know who I'm talking, the actor who played the American agent. Always forget his name, but he's a really good actor. Every time I see him, I forget that he's in the movie, even though he does a great job. So when I saw this movie, and I was like, oh yeah, he is in this movie. I kind of
the CIA guy. So it's Felix something.
Slider.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a reoccurring character.
He was in Dr. No.
Yeah, he was just different people in the other movie. So like, but the one thing that got me confused. The one thing that got me confused was that, huh? Well, no. But the one thing that had got me confused, because at first I didn't realize this was the first movie, and I was like, wait a minute, if this is Felix, how come they don't know each other? So but now that I realize this was the first movie like of this genre, then of this Bond at least, now I understand. So I'm assuming that he's gonna be in some of the other movies.
Mm-hmm. And ladies and gentlemen, let me just say, I just realized that we didn't even do a synopsis on this. Long story short, as we've been talking about it, essentially, Bond, there's a character named Lashif, and he's an international money launderer. and he likes to play poker. He likes to bet. That's his thing to do, and he loses over $100 million because when Bond, as Chrissy already elaborated on, Bond stops an explosion at an airport, which was supposed to give him a windfall of over $100 million personal money. Well, he loses that money, and he has to pay that money back to save his life. And so he orchestrates a high-end Texas Hold'em game, and that's the game that we're talking about now, a poker match where you see Bond, Felix Slider, you have other people around the world, some people that you saw earlier on in the movie that Lashif knows. And Lashif thinks that he has the best chance to win this $140 million jackpot, right? Which will more than cover the debt that he's incurred. And he has literally less than a day in order to get this done to save his life, or those people will come after him to kill him. And halfway through the movie, they come to leave him a message, which is probably one of the most exciting scenes in this, what you would think would be a kind of mundane poker match, which is really intense. But then there's action throughout it as well, because they're not stuck at the table throughout. But I'm sorry, Vic, please continue.
All right. Well, my other favorite scene was the scene where James Bond is being tortured, because the way that was done was very unexpected and hilarious.
You found it funny?
Oh man, it was the most hilarious part of the movie.
We're talking about the itch.
Yes. He's like, yo, he's like, he's in so much pain, and then he's laughing.
To the left, to the left.
To the left. I was like, what is this guy doing? What is going on here? Because like I said before, you're always looking at this like, okay, how's he going to get out of this one? He's just sitting there laughing like and at first I didn't understand why they cut the bottom part of the chair. And it's like, wait, why are they going to cut the bottom part of the chair? Like, what are they doing?
Easy access.
And then, so then they sit him on the chair, and I'm like, no.
And it was so suggestive, too. I was looking at it, was like, well, did he just slap the rope right over his shoulder? Just like.
Yeah, so that you could see the bulge, and you could see, like, how hard that's going to hurt. Like, that really had to
He's talking about the bulge of the rope, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
It was a knotted rope that essentially was being used to hit Bond in a sensitive area on his body.
Yes. And
but where's this? What was yours?
He swung, and I mean that level of torture is just the worst. Like, wow. But then the fact that Bond was just laughing about the whole thing was just hilarious to me, and the things that he was saying, because it was so unlike his character, because he's so like serious and you know what I mean, and cunning and like witty and things like that, and he was being very sophomoric, like he was being just hilarious, and I loved it. Okay, so now it's hard to pick what I didn't like about this movie. Now I'll tell you one thing that I didn't like was the beginning scene, the chase scene, because I felt like it dragged out too much. Because one thing that I felt with that is that I mean, don't get me wrong, it was nice, it was a lot of action, but I'm just like, all right, they're running through here, he's chasing them through there because he's trying to stop a bomb. But now the bomber is climbing up a crane and then jumping onto another crane and then jumping off of a building and then going down and then running through all of this, and then he's being chased by a truck, and I just felt like it was too much. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have to do all of that. I think that they could have accomplished this with half of that. And that's just me being picky because this movie was good.
Chris, you want to jump in there?
I find it very interesting that in a James Bond movie, you think your favorite scenes trump mine. But hey, let's find out, right? So I'm going to go next, right? Let's go ahead.
I can go.
I
like the dialogue. I just have a lot of them.
I believe you. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go. So I like the opening scene where James Bond's talking to the guy who's betraying him. Right?
Thank you.
And saying, hey, you know, I know I point your file and stuff like that. I thought the conversation was very good. I thought the subsequent fight while that was happening, somewhat, was also very good. And what I especially liked about it was after you thought that he drowned him and killed this dude was still alive, and James Bond turned around and shot him a la like when he's walking, he shoots, and that's how it got into the movie. I thought that was very well done. I thought it was very clever, and you see most of that in the trailer, and it still doesn't do it justice. It's a very, very good scene. I'm not going to talk about how that's actually should be a quotable, but it should be a quotable. Yes, considerably. I loved it. So that's one. Two, I'm going to have to disagree with Vic. I really did like the opening chase scene between James Bond and Bomber number 1. I thought it was very, very well done. I was very impressed. And I know you say it's nitpicking, but I was very impressed with all the running action, the fact that James Bond can keep up, and the fact that James Bond, even though look at him, he's very strong man and stuff like that, he was having a hard time just keeping up with this gentleman who, that's like the Spider-Man, just ducking and dodging and weaving and going in between things you shouldn't think he should be going in, and just flop, 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 flop. Being caught, I thought was very good. James Bond just walking up there like, look, midgets, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to beat you up and put a jacket over this person's head and put a book bag over this person's head. Walk out, all guns on him. Kind of like Tupac, only all guns on him, not eyes. But all guns on him. He's cool as a cucumber with the gun on the guy. Guy says, as he's all, been hit in the head with a gun and stuff like that, he said, listen to me. Thinking James Bond sends the guy over, drops it like, okay, you win. Shoots the daggone gas tank, boom, explodes all over the place after he kills the gunman. Really good scene. That was a great opening sequence, one of the best opening sequences I've ever seen for a movie, let alone a James Bond movie. So I have to give credit where credit is due for that one. I'm going to do an honorable mention scene. I like the honorable mention where James Bond goes up to the desk at the hotel and flirts with the woman about trying to find out where this guy is. I'll let James talk about the interaction between James Bond and him. But when he was trying to talk to her, and she was like, hey, if you didn't notice, I wouldn't tell, because he came and, oh, no, I'll tell you what scene I like. Yeah, this is going to be a while. James Bond parking the guy's car because the guy thought he was a valet. And the way he parked it was disrespectful. God, I loved it. I loved it.
Wait a minute.
Another scene I wanted.
Is that a callback to Goldfinger? Was that guy supposed to be not Goldfinger, but like this is an homage to him because he had dressed in the golf uniform?
It's a possibility, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it was just because it was a country club.
Okay.
Here's another scene that I thought was one of my favorite scenes that might surprise you all because it surprises me. And I'm surprised I'm even going to put this, but hey, it was a good scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, James and I have talked about recreating scenes in this daggone movie. I can tell you, in any movie, so I can tell you, I have tried to recreate that scene every single time I'm at a beach unsuccessfully.
Exactly. I said to myself, I want to be this dude and do that.
And it's like almost the opposite of the Pierce Brosnan, because before usually that would have been the introduction of the Bond girl coming out the water, slick, glistening skin, but they kind of flipped it on its head and they made, okay, James is the one out here, the snack in this movie. So you're going to have to pay attention to that. So I thought that was a great,
I won't call
scene.
him a snack.
Yeah,
he was a snack. He was a little aged cheese snack.
Okay. Well, the reason why I like that is because as I forget who, I think Chrissy, you said it, as you drink your water, that he's such a physical presence.
James, is it your best scenes or my best scenes? Because I'm not done yet.
We're talking about this scene that you just brought up. It's gonna be a while. That's why I told you don't rush to this.
Like 5 scenes. Still got 5 scenes. All right, go ahead.
Can I not talk about the scene that you just brought up, or what? I gotta wait till you go over all 10.
I wasn't all 10, but go ahead. Go.
All right, go ahead. Finish. Go ahead with the rest of the 5. Go ahead, and then I'll comment.
All right, good.
After all 5.
So as I said, like I said, I want to recreate the scene, and before I die, I'm going to recreate that scene. It's going to look just as yummy. I don't like saying that on air. I was going to use this as a commercial. I'm not anymore. But okay, so that's one scene. Then we're going to talk about one of my favorite scenes. All of my favorite scenes. That's why I put it up here, right? James Bond talking to that same woman that he saw on the horse outside of the hotel, where he was like, "You should come for a drink," and she was like, "Drink? Where? Is it close?" Very.
Oh, yeah.
One drink. They both get in the car, drive around like a speed demon, right? Drive around and then end up right back where they were. I love that scene. That scene was very, very well done. Very, very good. A few other scenes were pretty good, but I'm not going to mention that so I can get to the end. And that final scene that I'm talking about that I really liked, the very, very, very last scene where he caught up to Mr. White. Called him on the phone, said, Mr. White, we got to talk. Who is this? Gets shot, has to crawl, and then he comes finally decked out in an homage, so to speak, to Vesper, out of respect for Vesper, and says, the name is Bond, James Bond for the first time. Boom, boom, boom. I loved it. Great, great movie. Great, great scenes. And I'll talk more about that. As far as my worst scenes, I only had one worst scene that I really want to highlight. And I think that's the scene that Vic might have mentioned. No, it's not. I actually didn't like the scene before that. I didn't like the final act, so to speak, where Vesper was kidnapped and he went to go try to save her. I was not a fan of that scene. I didn't like anything after. I'll explain in a second. I didn't like anything after they supposedly were going to get the money and run away or whatever the hell they were doing. Well, they were going to get the money back, but she didn't do it. I just thought it was too much. I just didn't like it. I never liked that scene. There have been so many times where I've seen this movie, and so many times I actually stopped the movie at that scene. I just never was a fan. And I think a part of it is, and this is going to make James upset, I was not a fan of Vesper. Never liked Vesper Lynn. I thought she was a terrible character. I never liked her. Never liked her at all. I thought she dragged the movie down. She wasn't interested in me. Not at all. So earlier, you and Mr. Best over there were talking about how she's not a Bond girl. Yes, she is. What do you mean? She's a Bond girl. She's like the quintessential Bond girl. Like, I would consider Mei Ling or Wei Ling less of a Bond girl than Vesper. Vesper, yeah, she was intelligent. I consider them both. Yeah, she had. No, both of them are Bond girl. I'm saying that if you want to say one of them was not, I would say Wei Ling before her. She was intelligent. Yeah, she was flirty. She was seducing Bond, who was in his infancy. This is like Batman Year One. You got to remember that about Casino Royale. But at the same time, she was a damsel in distress. She couldn't do anything. She couldn't handle that smoke. Speaking of which, I didn't want to. I'm going to talk about it. Another favorite scene is when she was tied up and she was about to get hit with James Bond's car, and he was speeding. And that was a great scene. Great scene. Along with of course, the chair thing that Vic was talking about. But he was so eloquent, and when he was talking about it with the bulge and how hard it was, I didn't think I could give it justice. So kudos to that. But no, I wasn't a fan of Vesper. So that whole scene and then her dying, I wasn't a fan. So that was my worst scene of this movie. That's me, James. All
right. So that was Chris's final thought, since nobody else could talk. But I just want to say that I welcome people's opinions. Even Vic talking about the bulge of the rope. You see what I did? I saved you, Vic. I'm not going to do you like that. You see the disrespect that Chris has for you. But a lot of what Chris said, I agree. I love the opening, right? The opening is very, very slow.
Yeah, the black and white. Okay, yes.
White opening and everything like that.
Why did they do it in black and white?
When you compare that to that actually is the cold open of the movie. That's actually a callback to something Quentin Tarantino suggested, that they have when they were trying to revamp and reboot James Bond, that he wanted to do an entire James Bond movie in black and white. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. Well, when it came to this movie, that's an homage to Quentin Tarantino and the script that he wrote, where it would be in black and white. That's what he wanted to do, a la 1960s, as if it was a 1960s movie. But here's why I bring that up. Because when you compare it then to the scene that Vic didn't like, and yet Chris liked, and I agree with Chris in this, and that I liked it, when you see the guy who's doing the free jumping and everything like that, when you see how Bond is chasing him, Bond doesn't have those skills, right? He's not the man who can do everything. He does what he can do. And so you see how he counteracts that. For instance, there's a scene when the guy is running and he jumps through like the Jackie Chan through this small through this, when they're in the building, and he jumps through this small space above the drywall. And Bond doesn't try and do that. He knows he's not going to fit there. He just breaks through the drywall. Right? That's who Bond is in this movie. And I love that, because that scene, that chase scene, shows you who he is. There's so much character development in that whole chase sequence going all the way to the embassy, that they don't have to explain it in dialogue for the rest of the movie. You know who Bond is, and they've established that. It's something that you don't get in the cold open. Now, why do I mention the cold open? Other than the fact that I love it, it's black and white, it's very chic, it's so subdued that it's just, I love that evocative 1960s old school spy. That's what it is for me, right? And it's shot beautifully in the snow. What I love for that is this movie, as you say, it would in any other Bond movie, it would have been the female coming out of the water like that, Chrissy, to your point, right? And Chris, as he brought up in that favorite scene. But it's Bond who does that in this movie. And it doesn't play like some kind of, oh, we're redoing chauvinism now because woman power and all that. No, this is me. This is who I am. This is my movie. I'm coming out the water.
He's the snack.
And whatever he wants to call it, if he calls himself a snack, as Chrissy says, right? But that's why the cold open, when normally any of the Bond movie, when we just saw it, what is it? Tomorrow Never Dies. You had the whole action thing when they're trying to stop the nuclear missile or whatever like that, or stop the missile from detonating the other nuclear missile that's there. It's all action packed. And then you have a quiet scene after that. In this one, you have the quiet scene, and then you have the action. So I love that this movie is subverting expectations. I love the whole scene with they're at the I'll just put it under this one because it's too many to say, when they're at the Texas Hold'em game. And you have the back and forth between Lashif and Bond, right? And they're playing each other. They're reading each other. That old school classic spy thing, right? But then you counter that with, as Vic says, when you have Felix Slider, who's played by Jeffrey Wright, right? If you didn't know who that was and you had never seen a James Bond movie, you wouldn't know that he's a CIA guy. He doesn't give that off. He's playing it very, very, very subdued. And I love that, because if you were a spy, right, you wouldn't want anybody to know that. And I love James Bond, but as Vesper said, all eyes are on him. Oh, we got a comment from Charmaine.
Hi, thank you so much.
I'm glad, Chrissy, you look well. So Jeffrey Wright, he just does a great job as Felix Slider. I really, really like the portrayal of that. I'm gonna again highlight Vesper on Bond. That opening scene with them on the train, it's unmatched. Sorry, I don't care that Chris finds her a Bond girl. That's his opinion. If Chrissy finds her Bond girl light, I don't care. That's her opinion. Give this girl respect. My opinion. Vesper Lynn, she deserved to win. I have a rule in horror movies, right? If you make stupid mistakes, you deserve to die. You gotta go. If you trip when it's runtime, nobody's saving you. James Best will not save you. There'll be no heroics. I will tell people you tripped and you fell and you got killed and I got away. That is your story from my mouth, okay? Vesper Lynn deserved to win, and I love the fact that, as Chris says, even though he didn't like it, she stays in the elevator because she knows that Mr. White or somebody from the organization which is highlighted throughout this movie, which the first time I didn't get because I never watched all the original Bond movies through, they're talking about Spectre. They are establishing Spectre throughout it, the same way they did in Dr. No with Sean Connery. I love that, okay? And she knew that Mr. White would be there, hence why she left the phone, hence why she left the number on how to contact Mr. White. She knew she had to die. If she came out of that water, it would still be at risk, and her boyfriend, if that's really the case, would certainly be killed, right? But she sacrificed herself. Bond didn't get that. I love, again, the interplay between M and Bond. It goes from friend to mentor to co-workers, professional. Here we go. We have some antics going on. He doesn't want to verbally speak. He's just doing it through text. I don't get that, but whatever. But it's just a great job. This movie is fantastic. As I said before, it is my favorite Bond film. Let me go to, what I didn't like about this movie. I have just one thing. You're probably wondering what it is because I can go on and on and on about everything that I love about this movie. What's the one thing? The movie came out in November 2006. Instead of waiting to come out in July 2007. That was what everybody was talking about. It made no sense to me. If it's 007 come out in 2007, why did they rush it to come out in 2006? Made zero sense to me, but whatever. That is my worst of this movie, the release date. 2006, just wait a couple months, release it in 07.
Very sure. The marketing team would,
101. 101. That's it. We're going to go to our commercial because Chris is antsy.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
No longer in control. Once they use those code words, It's done.
And they put a sex mask over him.
What show was you watching?
There was a mask.
You didn't see that? He had the white girl.
They put a white
girl that's. They put a dog when they like it looks like they drug him there and then they sat him down.
They put a sex mask over his.
But look,
yeah,
they put a sex mask over him over his tracksuits.
It's one of those. It's one of those BDSM.
I don't remember that. Maybe I was taking notes because I was taking a lot of notes. So I don't remember no.
I mean, it was brief.
Yo, see, but let me tell you, see.
Every holiday season, there's one toy everyone has to have.
Whoever doesn't can be a real loser.
Finding it
You got the doll, right?
is this father's nightmare.
I'll get that toy. I promise.
Jingle all the way.
All right, and we're back. So, if you didn't know, we are doing Christmas movies. We're doing a UPRE Christmas special, and the very first one was allegedly Die Hard, but the best one is coming up on Thursday, this coming Thursday, Jingle All the Way. So stay tuned for that. And also, we do a Black Lightning review on Saturdays, so make sure you check that out as well. But right now, we are going on to our next segment, which is, of course, James's, or should I say M's favorite segment, Quotables.
I never said that.
You definitely said it.
No.
Somebody roll back the footage. He said it was his favorite segment.
No.
We're going there.
If I didn't come up with it, it's not my favorite. I enjoyed this segment, and that is the most I will give it.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, I don't remember him saying. I don't remember him saying this was his favorite segment. I think he
I'll
does
play
say
it back.
he said
It was
enjoyed
like
it,
2
though.
episodes ago. When I win, let's bet.
No,
Let's
you
make
will
a bet
find
so I
it
can
and
win
you'll
some
play
money.
it. And then
We don't have time, ladies and gentlemen. Time. Let's go.
All right. All right. All right.
We got time to talk about
Hold up.
All right. I'll go first. I got a
Let's
few.
go.
Okay, go ahead, Vic.
I got a few. Okay. Let's see.
somebody played it petty.
No, it's not petty. Every comment is about time.
This
Now all
is
of a
James.
sudden we got time to go back in the previous episodes. We got time
Vic's
to make
Quotable.
I'm talking about the movie and how much I enjoyed. Everybody wants me to rush. Ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing it behind the scenes. This is something you don't get on other shows. Right? I don't get that. This is a movie podcast. I'm enjoying the movie. I'm talking about the movie. Y'all complaining like y'all got a bedtime, like y'all Betty White. What's going on? Yeah. Either we're talking about the movies we love or not, right? I apologize for cutting into your time, no pun intended. Your quotes, please.
Go ahead, Vic.
Okay. Now the whole world's gonna know that you died scratching my balls.
Would you like to elaborate on where that?
That was a great quote. That was what I was elaborating to in my earlier with my favorite scene when he was just laughing at the whole situation. He was getting hit, and he's like, "Listen, can you give it a little more to the left?" And he's just laughing and getting hurt, like really, really getting hurt. And then when he said that just bust a gut. That had me dying. Like I had to pause and stop laughing because that was too funny. All right, I got more. Okay, so there's all right. Am I going to have a problem with you, Mr. Bond? No, don't worry. You're not my type. Smart? No, single. I was like, oh, smooth, because he started the movie fucking Married Women. So like, yeah, that made sense.
Oh.
That made sense. And then
I apologize for the PG show.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, he made love to a married woman. Anyway.
Wonderful cleanup.
Lastly, was the exchange between M and Bond. So you want me to be a half monk, half hitman? And M says, any thug can kill. I need you to take your ego out of the equation. And the last one I don't have up here is when Vespa says to Bond, you lost because of your ego and nothing more. Yeah, that was a nice, good exchange between them. And that's it.
Wonderful. I like those. Great.
But you know what?
quotes.
I have to give you respect of it because you are the person that comes prepared for quotables, and what I mean by that is you actually put them in the banners so people can see. So even our podcast listeners, but it's really professional. I really like it. So kudos to you, sir, for being the only one prepared.
He gives and he takes away. Did you notice when he
What
did,
are you talking
did you
about?
notice that? He said, even for our podcast listeners, and he points to his for the podcast, he pointed to his headphones as if to say they can't read it, so why don't you just read it? Because Vic just had it on the screen for a long time.
I genuinely love that you do that, Vic. I'm giving a real compliment.
This is Chris.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
James,
great job.
That wasn't a compliment. He was not complimenting you.
It was a compliment from me. I don't know about from Chris, but I really do like that you do that.
I was complimented because look at our recast. We post pictures, right? We do features. It's the same thing. Vic, it's a good job. I don't know. James is on one tonight. We don't have time for this.
Listen, Vic, I get to talk about you in a negative way. I told you some of your movie picks were terrible. I said that about your Halloween thing, but they were better than Chrissy's, and I apologize because they were so much better than Chrissy's. That's what I said in that episode. We have time apparently, right? But
you know,
I will never lie to you about when Chris was taking shots. Chris was taking a shot at you. Don't believe
Quotables.
That's for those who heard that Quotables shout out. That was by Tempest Fugit. If you've ever seen Batman the Animated Series, that was a villain occupied by time.
Here we go. So I'm going to my quotables. I'm ready. I'm ready to talk. So here we go.
Go ahead.
My first quotable is going to be from M because she was a force to be reckoned with and always is, by the way. But I love her dynamic with Bond in this movie, even more than the Pierce Brosnan movie that I saw. I feel like they have more on-screen chemistry, her and Daniel Craig. But anyway, this quotable is from her. She says, "This may be too much for a blunt instrument to understand, but arrogance and self-awareness seldom go hand in hand." So this is perfect end quote because that's exactly what Bond is. You know, he's almost a loose cannon. He's very much he's new to it. He's just became a 00. And also that when they mentioned that you need at least 2 kills to be a 00. I feel like that might be a relic from an older movie because now that I think about it, 2 kills doesn't seem like that much or impossible for a spy. So maybe that's something that they mentioned in earlier films, like maybe like the 1960s versions or something. But anyway, quotables. My next quotable is going to be from this train scene with Bond and Vesper. And even though they have a whole bunch of quotables in that scene, I specifically like this one because of my nickname. It says, I'm the money. And he says, every penny of it. That's a little tip of the hat to Moneypenny. She's not in this movie. I don't know why. She should have been in it. But, you know, I digress. Great character.
I was confused by that. I was confused by that. I was very confused by that because since I don't know the history, I thought she was Moneypenny. Especially because
Moneypenny is showing
right away. I thought that she was Moneypenny. I was like, oh, okay. You know, she's probably was sent by M. But I thought, you know, but then as we dragged on, I realized.
But why wasn't Moneypenny in this movie?
She's a field agent. In the rebooted series, she's a field agent, and you see that in the subsequent films, and she doesn't like field work, and she chooses to work in the home office at the MI6 compound.
Okay.
By the way,
she's a field agent who's terrible.
Terrible
her job.
A quick question. Is M supposed to be living in that compound? Because it looks like, I mean, if anybody's seen Skyfall, it looks like outside her window is the same view as in Skyfall when they showed the outside of MI6. Is that the case?
I didn't catch that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, just for
I have to see Skyfall
reasons.
again, but you're going to be a little surprised when we get to Skyfall. So we'll see.
All right, so I love that quote between those two because again, Moneypenny wasn't in it. I thought it was a great quote. Just a tip of the hat to Moneypenny. And I think that might be my last one. I think I only did 2, so that's the end of my quotables. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next, so James can go last. I have a few. It's not that many, but I have a few. So here's a couple. Chrissy, you actually stole one of mine. As much as I was not a fan of Vesper, and this is not because of her, it's because of James Bond. I did like that Moneypenny line. I thought that was really good. So I also liked Lashif when he found out that his money kind of went up in smoke, so to speak. He told whoever that guy was, his right-hand man, give our guests 5 minutes to leave or throw them overboard. That was good. I feel like that when people are in my apartment. Also, like the
Dynasty.
No,
The
not the
Lost
Dynasty.
Boys?
Anyway,
How many
I
factions
also
do you guys have?
I don't know what
I
you guys refers to, but he has several. The Brotherhood, the Dynasty.
No, like you two
This
have
is,
pictures and then have like these different things that you have for yourselves. Like I don't know.
Spectre.
Oh, so
They're everywhere.
I have two.
okay.
I have two.
Next week is gonna be a Star Wars thing that you guys are doing.
No, not next week, but eventually.
No, they could not be trained as Jedi. I've seen these people. They could not be Jedi. Trust me. Despite any dog tags, they could not be members of the council.
Oh, wow.
Jedi Order.
Okay.
I don't think so.
They're Lost Boys. Lost Boys.
Nobody's lifting rocks.
Damn.
That would be a Roger Moore
The cards were slightly stacked in my
Stacked
favor.
in my
Great
favor.
quotable, Andrew.
That's the Roger Moore. Roger Moore.
He can quote whatever
All right,
movie. Thank you. Thank you for your
No, I
quotable.
didn't say
I
you
love
can't.
it.
I'm just letting.
Always got to have a little grain of salt in these compliments here. Next quotable, sir.
What are you talking about? I was just acknowledging the fact that he has one from a Roger Moore movie. That's all.
Hey, do we have
so,
time for quotables? I just want to know for future record.
M had a good quotable here. When James Bond had a little, fun with M, and he was like, "Oh, I always thought M was a signed number. I didn't know what it stood for." And then she goes, "Utter one more word, and I'll have you killed." That's why they won't call me Chris. So I gotta give you that. Also, M had another one where she said to him, and please understand the meaning behind this kind of line. When he was complaining that a woman was a woman, it was cheating on him. She said that she knew that you were you, and that's a very, very important line. Trust me. That's a very important line because ultimately, in the end, who are we but ourselves? And the people who are closest to you know you better than anyone. I mean, we have a lot of inside jokes, but I mean, very few people know James better than I do, and vice versa. And even Vic and I, in the shortest amount of time, I mean, I know whatever he's doing, he's running around. So please understand where that's coming from. Right. So that being said, those are my quotables. See, you know what? I don't want to feel left out because I knew you liked that beach scene. Go ahead, James, with your quotables.
I'm sorry. I was just laughing at the fact that you said Vic, and anytime you see him, he's running around. And
he's running around.
It just sounded like a shot was fired.
It wasn't a shot.
You say
you
that
guys.
there's no shot being fired.
It appears he's
that's true.
every inch. Great quote, Andrew.
That is also
That's
Roger
true.
Moore. That's from Moonraker. Go ahead, James.
Somebody
Hey, do we have the
Roger
title
Moore.
of the Tonight Show on? All right. Let me jump to some guys. Come on, I'm trying to do my quote. Please. I like the quotes in this movie because, again, the back and forth it always gets me. I don't know why they're laughing. Everybody, it's throwing me off tonight. But
because you're gonna say something funny.
I can't stand you guys.
So, Vic, do I not have your back, and now you're just throwing shots at my?
I'm not throwing shots. I
Come
just
on.
already know you're gonna
Come on,
say
guys.
something
Listen.
hilarious. You're gonna say
I'm
something
gonna-
that
I'm
makes
gonna-
everybody
I'm gonna-
laugh because you're gonna say something real slick and real like smart, and then for some people it's gonna
He
go
gave
over
you a compliment.
and then for some people
Thank you,
it's gonna
Chris.
be
I'll just take the compliment.
Quotables.
Come on,
I'm gonna do 3 scenes. I love the scenes in this movie. I'm just gonna do the 3 scenes. I'm gonna run them out. I don't have the print on the screen, but let's not pretend that you're gonna read them as fast as I'm gonna say them out loud. Okay, so here we go. Your
Say
file
them as
shows
fast as you walk.
Huh?
Say them as fast as you walk.
Quotables.
Your file shows no kills, and it takes 2. I know where you keep your gun. I suppose that's something true. How did he die? Your contact? Not well. Made you feel it, did he? Well, you needn't worry. The second is yes, considerably. Chris mentioned that one. Great back and forth between 2 people. I just love that dance. This is the scene that Vic talked about, always the knots in the rope Chris, he called it the bulge as he went off screen to laugh.
I did not.
You know, sorry, Chrissy, what did you say about balls?
I did not. But you know, it is a great callback to the Goldfinger.
Is it quotables?
See?
Is it my turn, Chrissy?
I'm just saying. It's a callback. It's a callback to Goldfinger.
Do you have any more water?
No.
Hey, you took it to the head. All right.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, Vic. What were you saying about your quote?
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please. By all means.
You're making me laugh over here, man. Let me mute myself.
You know, I never understood all these elaborate tortures. It's the simplest thing to cause more pain in a man, than a man can possibly endure. And of course, it's not only the immediate agony, but the knowledge that if you do not yield soon enough, there will be little left to identify you as a man. The only question remains, will you yield in time? I love that. He's basically saying, I'm going to turn you into a woman. You know, I'm going to gild you. It's a great line if you caught it, right? And I love that scene too, because James is visibly shaken. No pun intended. He's scared, but he starts to get his courage back through the thing, talking about the quote that Vic did about his testicles being itchy. You know what I mean? And he's taking back power from it, you know, because he says at the end, there's nothing you can do to that I'm going to tell, and they're going to kill you. So I'm laughing at that, you know. He goes, I've got a little itch down there. Would you mind? And then he hits him. And he goes, no. And you see Lashif is like this, like you got some intel to tell me? And he says, to the right. I love that. I don't want to be tortured ever in my life, especially not in that way. But if I ever am, I want to go out like a G like that, because that's a great thing. And I want them to have to tell honestly, he went out like a champion. I love that. Actually,
he would have went out with his thing stuck in his mouth, because he was about to get cut off before Mr. White.
It doesn't matter. My last words were to the right, Chris. Don't take away my death fantasy.
Last words would have been
don't take away my death fantasy, okay?
Cool.
Anyway,
proceed.
Before Chris, we don't even have the time for this nonsense. Anyway, my last quote is this. And this is M and Bond when M is on the boat and he's mad at Vesper, okay? And this is what I mean about the mentor, friend, teacher, you know, trying to teach him a lesson, right? She knew who you were. That's what Chris said, right? And then he goes, you don't trust anyone, do you, James? No. Then you've learned your lesson. Get back here as soon as you can. We need you. Will do. If you need time, why would I need time? Job's done. The bee is dead. James, did you ever ask yourself why you weren't killed that night? Isn't it obvious? She made a deal to spare your life in exchange for the money. I'm sure she hoped they would let her live, but she must have known she was going to her death. And now we'll never know who was behind this. The trail's gone cold. In that one bit of dialogue, she goes from this is his trainer, his boss, to his friend. And he knows that. But he's so deep in the emotion that he's trying to turn his heart cold. Let me just quickly explain why I like that. Men and women don't think the same. We don't experience things the same way, okay? And I can't speak for what it is like a woman when a woman is betrayed. You see oftentimes women, they get betrayed and they get abused. They get their confidence is betrayed, and they're still with the guy. A lot of times, guys, they will make themselves vulnerable to their first love. And the minute they break their heart, they are cold till the day they die. And we see in that one scene how the James Bond that we are familiar with, from Dr. No all the way up to Pierce Brosnan, where he's this womanizer and everything like that, we see why. I let myself be vulnerable and I was hurt. I will never allow myself to be hurt again. It spoke to me. It was so prescient. It was so true to life. And I love that stuff. But that was my last of my quotes. We're going to take a commercial break, then jump back to Recast It.
No, we're not. No, we're not. We're going to...
Let me revise that. We're going to go straight into Recast It.
All right.
Who wants to go first for Recast It?
I want to go first because I'm feeling that someone might take mine, because I've been very vocal on Facebook about who I think should be this person's recasted. So even though I think this person did a wonderful job, I'm going to have to recast Daniel here. Great job. My favorite Bond, as a matter of fact. But I feel like this person, if they decide to go another direction in later films, which they obviously are, I feel like this person right here could make a great Bond. Michael Fassbender.
I'll give you that. That I'll give you. Or your John McClane.
Hold on. Did you not just put tomfoolery? How is this tomfoolery? Y'all just be picking on me. I swear to God, because this is no way in hell that this is.
I'm not picking on you. I'm not picking on you. The fact that you replaced Daniel Craig, my finger was already on the button. But then you put Michael Fassbender there, who you think is better Magneto than Sir Ian McKellen. Like, I don't understand. You see, I don't understand all that intelligence, and you pick the craziest recasters. I don't get you at all.
Whatever.
Steve,
my recasters are legendary.
Wait a minute, hey, guys. Quick second. We have a special guest. We have Mr. White, Stephen Pena.
So hi, Stephen. So I'm going to my second recasting. It's going to be for our girl Vesper. Again, great job.
More tomfoolery.
But
I can get behind this.
There's a scene that he mentioned to her specifically. I want you to come in and look beautiful. All eyes are on you. And she's a beautiful woman. But this movie came out in like 2005, 2006. And there's a woman who I cannot to this day understand why she has never been a Bond woman to my knowledge. Angelina Jolie. She could be the Bond girl.
No.
Beautiful beyond, like, most beautiful actress. Like top 10 for sure.
No.
I feel like she should have definitely been a Bond girl by this point. And I'm not necessarily sure if Vesper would be the best pick, but I feel like just in Bond girls in general, she should be a Bond girl. She's my recaster for a Bond girl. What? I'm not recasting.
Why am I not recasted as 007 and not the lame punk from Die Hard? No, I wasn't saying that you are a lame punk. Or were you in Die Hard in the Nakatomi Towers? What I was saying was you and him have the same pastimes based purely on the crazy commentary that you were saying that Moneypenny was killed in this series of films. That's why I said that. Not that you were a lame punk, Steven. I would never do that, okay? Never.
If you were in a card game and you wanted somebody to come in to turn heads, this is the woman that you call to do it. I'm sorry, Vesper, beautiful woman. Angelina Jolie would have came in there, turned the heads, all eyes would have been on her. The game would have been won.
Chrissy, what year was this picture taken? What year was that picture taken?
This picture was I'm not sure what this picture was taken, but I specifically chose this picture. This is from 2004. The movie came out in 2006. It started filming in 2005. So this would have been the Angelina Jolie that we saw. Beautiful.
I always thought Angelina Jolie's physical attraction was a little overrated. As far as her being a Bond girl.
What's the name of this person?
Angelina
Jolie. Having some trouble. What is it?
Who are you asking? Me?
Both of y'all were stumbling
Angelina
over
Jolie.
her name.
Angelina Jolie.
Okay. Because y'all were like, I didn't understand.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Either way you look at it, I completely agree with recasting Vesper. I'm not exactly sure Angelina Jolie should have been recasted because I think she kind of would have overshadowed Daniel Craig's James Bond, and I'm not sure that's the way you want to go. But
Vesper overshadowed we already established this. This is Vesper's time to shine.
Who established that?
No, she didn't.
Vesper is a great character.
I said she went toe to toe with him.
I will say this.
Overshadowed him.
I will say this, Chrissy. Of all your recasted, I think this is probably your best ones. Because you've been dry. Well, your first one sucked, but this is probably your best one.
Chrissy, shots fired. Don't take it as a compliment.
I know these compliments are not compliments. Believe me, I know. I have great recasted. Thank you very much.
No, that I agree with Chris, but I'm just telling you that those are shots fired. I think
you just said I should recast James Bond.
But I just
as
wanted
Tom
you to
Hardy.
know that he shot.
Let the viewers know that he said I should recast James Bond as Tom Hardy.
Blah blah blah.
When Michael Fassbender is obviously the better choice. But okay.
Do you have any more
Tom Hardy?
No, our friend James. Not James Bond, but James M.
Tom Hardy will be a horrible choice as James Bond. Horrible.
Which is why I picked Michael.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that, Chris? Seriously.
Well, first of all, I think you should at least be 6 feet. See, do you think
Daniel Craig is
Chris with the disrespect?
Daniel Craig is 5'11".
What? No. See, do you have another recasted? Let's keep it moving.
No, that's the end of my recasted. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
Does anybody want to go next? Okay, Vic's going to go next. I want to go with Angelina Jolie. I like playing footsie.
See, I told you my recasteds. The people love my recasteds.
That's not what he was saying, Chrissy. That's not what he was saying.
So I only have...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He wants to go toe to toe with my
like
recasted
playing
Angelina Jolie.
No. He said he likes playing footsie. That's the point of it. He wants to do something else.
Vic, I'm sorry.
Recast. Vic's
I'm sorry.
recasted.
I didn't hear your recasted, Vic. My bad. What were you saying?
Here we go, Stephen Pena. Here we go.
James Smith. Yes, messy.
This show is
messy
liquored up,
boots.
ladies and gentlemen, on the podcast. You can't see it, but it's a mess. I love it.
Vic, please go into your recasting. We apologize.
Okay, so when I saw this guy, I thought it was a good villain. But for some reason, I kept getting this guy in my head.
Okay.
And I feel
I can kind of get behind that. I keep going.
I can get behind it.
I feel like it would work. I feel like this guy would do that role justice, especially the ball. You know, I feel like it would work. I really do.
I can see it. Chris is just being a little trigger happy with their tomfoolery this evening.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So now, lastly, you know, because of the way this movie is, this movie really reminded me of something from a long time ago, and I'm really gonna show my age right now. Cast of this guy right here is by doing this, because this movie, like I kept saying before, and does everybody know who
MacGruber?
Does everybody know?
It's MacGyver.
No, on Saturday Night Live.
Okay. Oh no, I got this one. Oh no, wait. I got this one for Chrissy. Sorry, you know that one. The other one.
I'll take it off.
I'm still.
I got this one for Chrissy because the thing is, because here's the thing about MacGyver, right? MacGyver is always in these situations where it's like it seems that it's impossible for him to get out of, and then he just always figures a way out of the situation. So like this movie is very, very, very MacGyver. If everybody understands, like, you know, just the whole culture behind MacGyver, is just literally DIY everything. And this guy just gets out of everything, you know, from the poker game to the ball thing to the fights to everything. It's just great. But yeah, did you watch this movie?
Who's your recast? I don't know who wrote that comment. This is horrible.
Read the comment out loud and really think about who it is. No, read the comment out loud. Okay.
Steven?
Yeah.
No, come on. No, look at your StreamYard, right?
Oh, it's
so how many times? Anytime you see it more than once, right? Then you know somebody in here did it. Okay. So now read that comment. Did Vic watch this movie? Your thoughts.
What happened, James? You think I didn't? You think I didn't watch this movie?
Did it got a response?
What happened? You think I didn't watch this movie?
Got a response, guys. You guys are the worst.
You think I didn't watch this movie?
I don't know, buddy. I thought Chrissy was bad with her recasted, but you have managed to take the trophy.
You agree with me?
No, he did. James. What James is saying is, you just said something along the lines of, it's very MacGyver because he always finds a way to get out of it. He got poisoned, right? And he only got his life saved by Vesper. I mentioned earlier when he was about to get his external reproductive organ fed into his esophagus, he was saved by Mr. White. Like, there's a few times where he did not get out of it by coming up with some kind of contraption like they do in MacGyver.
Yes.
That's your recast it. And even though I was entertaining you. You were treading on thin ice, but I was entertaining you for you said for C to superior, but
no,
this is tomfoolery, bro.
No, Chris, like James with worse than best scenes, has a rebuttal for everyone's recast. Everyone's recast against a rebuttal.
Chrissy has never heard of MacGyver. She thought it was MacGruber. And Vic has
that's why I put both of them. That's why I put both of them. Listen, man.
I always have to bring dignity. I always have to bring dignity to the show.
This guy's always getting out of like crazy situations. It's my guy.
Okay. Do you have another recasting, sir?
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
All right, I'll go next because I only have two.
Okay.
I'll go next because I only have two where James has 7. So on the first person I'm going to put up is this guy. right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, not him. Hold up, I messed up because I'm trying to do Wade. I'm trying to do Wade now, so I don't. It's not as long, and I have to stall. All right, so this guy.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
I didn't even put anybody up there yet.
Come on.
Oh, come on.
Come on.
So this guy, what is he doing? He's upset because he lost some money and stuff like that, and I understand. So during the scene that nobody mentioned, but James did allude to a little bit earlier, he actually visited in the hotel. Thanks, Vic. We're gonna while you unzipping your fanny pack. So he actually visits the hotel with Lashif and his girl, right? And he's giving him to SmackDown. He's about to chop heads off. He says, "Oh, not an ounce of protest, right? You can get yourself a new boyfriend," which was also a funny quote, but it also reminds me of another quote and something I thought he could say, and he could say just as well. And that is, hold up, I messed up. So this new way is not. Yeah, there it is. It's innocence is not the same as ignorance, Miss Lane. From Batman versus Superman. This guy right here should be.
I will give you credit for that. I will give you credit for that.
Yeah, because when he was about to chop off that woman's hand, he didn't give a crap about whether or not she was just sleeping with the dude, or as Vic says earlier, effing or making love. I don't know. Vic, you got to figure out if you want to do rated R or PG. But that's what happens. So that's why I recast it for one. I only have one more recasted, okay? And this might surprise some people. I'm going to recast Vesper, right?
Mm-hmm.
I figured,
Use my
hey, she can go. I figured, yeah, I'm going to use your picture. I said, hey, she can go. Who can I see playing this character? Who has played this character before this woman was even born? Who's played this character in a few other movies? Who will be the best person in credits? Oh, I've seen it. It's this person right here.
No.
We haven't seen her in quite a while. I'm glad she's, back in the business. She took a little hiatus.
Let me tell you when I saw her.
On Thursday's episode, Jingle All the Way.
Oh, God.
Let me tell you when I saw her. I saw her. Yeah, okay, Vic. I saw your arm move to tomfoolery too. But let me tell you when I saw her. I saw her actually sit across a train from this person right here. Right?
Train scene was
I did. I saw. They were having a lot of talk, and he was like, "Hey," she said, "I'm the money." He said, "Yes, every penny of it." That's when I actually lost respect for him, because I was like, "What? You don't know how to count? She's not worth anything. She's horrible. She's horrible." Recast James Woods, Felix Slider. That's my recast, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to Mr. Best. James, who do you have for your recast?
Well, let me just say, despite the foolishness, I actually enjoyed that recasted quite a bit. I love the freeze frame photos on tonight's episode as well. Recast James Wood as Felix Slider. I'd be curious to see how that went, because that would be an intense Felix Slider. Now, listen, I just wanted to highlight some things, because I don't think we realized that we had a little bit of cameos in this movie. Now, one obvious cameo was, excuse me, when Bond was in the Miami airport, that Chris. One obvious cameo, Chris, was when Chrissy said when he was in the Miami airport, and we see, I was about to call him Action Bronson, but Richard Branson, he's a billionaire. He owns Virgin Atlantic and the old record label and everything like that, and that's him on the right, and he's looking directly in the camera because he wants you to know, hey, I'm in a James Bond movie.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another cameo that we might have There was another cameo that we might have missed, and I caught it because I am eagle-eyed, and that's what I do. I break down scenes, okay? And this scene, if you look on the far left, as Mathis is being dragged away, who is that? That's Joe Biden, president-elect. You see him in the chair? There he is, right there. Here's a close-up. That's what he's doing. He's looking at the camera.
Oh,
there he is right there. There's two cameos. What?
I see it. I see
it, right?
I definitely see it.
Tomfoolery is president of
That's literally him.
That's him. It's him.
First of all, that's not him, because I don't see these little girls.
I sat through Somali pirates. aka random African country despots, both in this movie and in BVS. I sat through MacGruber / MacGyver. I sat through Angelina, aka Salt. Okay, but let me recast somebody else. And what? And we've been recasting this person a lot. Apparently, Chris calls her the Silhouette. I call her Vesper Lynn.
The skeleton.
And when I thought of this movie, of course, when I think of Bond, intellect, and using what you have, the abilities and the skills in front of you, and I didn't mention all of this because apparently we didn't have time until we had time, that we see Bond using throughout this movie. She reminded me of somebody. And she reminded me of Irene Adler. Now, people are like, who? Because they don't read. But Irene Adler is actually the love interest of Sherlock Holmes. And that's who James Bond reminds me of. That intellectual, that smart person that works things out, right? A spy. This is the Irene Adler that most people are familiar with. That's from the Guy Williams, I think it is, Sherlock Holmes series. She played a major role in the first movie, and then in Game of Shadows, which I will be bringing up later because I want to do that movie, and actually a scene from that movie with my old time friend Chris, who I've known from the camps for so many decades. But this is that familiar. But in the sequel, they killed her as if she had no importance.
Well, golly, spoiler alert! I never saw the movie.
Oh well, she's dead. She's dead, Chrissy. Spoiler. Mystery solved. But the Irene, so fun. The Irene Adler that I really like is from the BBC series Sherlock. Okay, which somebody mentioned in the comments. Benedict Cumberbatch. Chris calls him Doctor Strange. I call him
nothing.
Stark Killer. That's what I call him. Stark Killer. That's what he did. That's what he did for the entirety of Endgame and Infinity War. This.
I call him Con Killer. That's just me.
No, he's Stark Killer. He's the only thing that kills Stark. It wasn't Whiplash. It wasn't the old man from the first movie. It wasn't the fake Mongol or whatever his name was. The drunk British Mongol. It wasn't him. The Mandrake, whatever his name was. It wasn't his nagging wife. It wasn't any of those things. It wasn't the purple man from McDonald's. No, it was Doctor Strange who killed Tony Stark. But Benedict Cumberbatch, aka he's in a series called Sherlock, or he was, and he plays Sherlock Holmes. And in there, they have in season 2, they have an episode called The Scandal Belgravia. And that's where we have the introduction of Miss Irene Adler. And this Irene Adler, I really, really want to recast as Vesper Lynn. Chrissy's shaking her head because she's ran out of alcohol. But if she's seen this series, she would know why I'm recasting this, because she plays Sherlock's equal. And actually in this episode, they go toe-to-toe, much as Vesper Lynn did in this movie that we just watched, that Vic just saw half of. But I would recast, again, Vesper Lynn as Irene Adler from the BBC Irene Adler. Somebody's saying tomfoolery, but I'm sure it's the alcohol talking. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my recasting.
We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back after this message.
George Lewis says, I see Ava Marie is on the WWE roster. Can you confirm that? Hold on a minute. Let me get on the phone with Vince McMahon. Hold on a minute. I'm going to call Vince.
What's going on,
Vince.
Michael Okada?
What's up?
This is Happy Leonard.
Hey, what's up, Pops? Yeah. George wants to know if Ava Marie is on the roster. Ava Marie. Yeah. Ava, E-V-A, Marie, M-A-R-I-E. Yeah, the red hair. What's that? Carpet matches drapes? Yeah, listen, I don't know. Uh-huh. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, thanks. Yeah, he says he doesn't know.
all that for just, I don't know.
Yeah.
You both know what's at stake here.
There isn't much road left.
Take the bloody shot.
Everybody needs a hobby. So what's yours? Resurrection.
All right, and we're back. So again, we are going to be continuing our James Bond series onto Skyfall, which is James's pick, I believe.
Yes, it is.
All right.
And actually, the black lady in that is who Stephen Pena. He's on the screen right now. You can see him. He was one of the confused hosts in that commercial that confused me because this is UPR Entertainment. And I was wondering why we were watching them and not Skyfall, my pick. But anyway, I don't make the commercials. He's the one that said that black lady was dead. And that black lady, Vic, is Moneypenny.
Very much alive.
And he, again, it's Mr. White says, effing Moneypenny dies right after that scene. But I'm confused because in the trailer for the movie after that one, she's speaking to Bond and telling him that she's found a lead on somebody. So what is Stephen Pena, Mr. White, aka the confused co-host of that show that I don't even know the name of? What is he talking about? I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry, but this is final thoughts. Who would like to go first? I'm sorry, Chrissy, but Mr. White was just talking too much craziness.
All right, guys. So let's get into final thoughts. So what? Cloning?
Cloning. Again, where are we going here? Where are we going, Stephen? Where are we going?
All right, so my final thought about this movie, again, as we already disclosed, I chose this movie. This is my quintessential Bond. I love Daniel Craig as Bond, but I can see why he has grown tiresome of the franchise because, again, this is a very physically demanding Bond, more so than I feel like we've had in previous Bonds. I enjoyed the film just because it was just so good. It took the older Bonds and made it more modern. You know, they turned Bond from, even though he's still a womanizer to a certain extent, but he's more of we get more of his background, I guess, because it's before he turned, we got a little peek of him before he turned into a 00. So again, it's like his year one. The reason why I like this film, or obviously I'm giving this a thumbs up, full disclosure, as you probably already guessed. Great movie. I had a couple things I wanted to say about it. Oh, even though I love this movie, it's one of my favorite Bond movies. This is my least favorite Bond song and my least favorite Bond opening, theme opening. I didn't enjoy the song. I didn't feel like it really had the same themes as the other, like, you know, tied it all together. Didn't like this one, and I didn't really much like Quantum of Solace one either, but this was probably my least favorite song. Also, another note I took from this Bond after watching the other Bonds, never be the first Bond girl because you're going to die. All the time I've noticed this is a repeated theme. I'm not sure how often it happens, but all the ones I've seen, the first Bond girl dies, never be the first Bond girl. And about this movie, I feel like the movie was good, but I feel like Vesper's portrayal, quote unquote portrayal, turned this from a good Bond film to a great Bond film. It was just the twist that was needed at the end. This what makes it the most memorable for me was the twist ending and her betrayal, and the kind of flipping the betrayal on his head by, you know, the later disclosure that she was doing this because for reasons. It wasn't like she was just this evil person who was getting over on him. There are reasons behind it. I like this. I like this element to the movie. And again, it's just a good movie. Great movie. Thumbs up for me. Enjoyed it. Who's next?
Thumbs up.
All right.
It's not, you know, there's a lot of things that I liked about this movie, but truth be told, it was impactful. It was a great way to introduce a new Bond, and it just has me curious to seeing all of them, honestly. Keep it short. Yeah. So.
Thumbs up. All right.
Thank you so much. You know, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to get my final thought in two quotes that I think sums up tonight's episode, this movie, what I thought of it. Here goes the first one. It's actually a quote by Captain Jean-Luc Picard. I wish we had more time. That's the first quote. The second quote is Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. Why? Because that doesn't make sense, and neither did half of what was said tonight. But I will give this movie a thumbs up.
Thumbs up? All right.
Why are you laughing? Good thumbs up. What's he doing, buddy?
Short and sweet. All right. Let's see. Oh, snap. Go ahead, Chris. Your turn, Chris. Final thoughts on this movie.
You didn't like my final thought, Chris?
I loved it. Chris,
Thank
what's
you.
your final thought?
Thank you.
I heard a lot of tomfoolery. I mean, James only spoke for 10 seconds, but I heard a lot of tomfoolery in that very sentence he said, right? Very sensitive. Nothing but tomfoolery. I had some final thoughts. This might surprise you. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and start off with normal shit. Normal crap. 8.0 out of 10 on IMDb.com. That's what it did. It was the highest rated Daniel Craig James Bond movie. Some people might think it was Skyfall. Skyfall actually got 7.7. This movie cost $130 million to make, made $610 million worldwide. 160 of it came from the United States of America. Now, that being said, I enjoyed this movie. However, when I first saw it, this is going to surprise a lot of people, and it's going to lead to my grade. When I first saw it, I was not a fan of this movie. I actually fell asleep. I went with some of my friends in the syndicate group, and I remember one of them at the end of this movie. And I remember one of them at the end of this movie actually stood up and said, "Worst James Bond movie ever." And the reason for that is and my friend also, David Williams, who I know James knows, also was upset with this movie. He said it was way too much card playing. It was so boring. Way too much card playing. And I was like, I had to agree with him because I fell asleep during the movie. Because I actually, too, thought this movie was boring. I actually, too, was not enjoying this movie. My friend was like, if something doesn't explode soon. Completely understand where they were coming from when I saw this movie. I was disappointed. Ignoring that. I was disappointed. Now, watching it again later, because it was James Bond, so of course I watched it again. That year probably, or whenever it was released. I've learned to enjoy the movie more and more every time I see this movie. Because it wasn't just about going out there, shooting this person, shooting that person, exploding, all about the kill. It was a psychological message behind it, and I love psychological messages. The reason How Come Tomorrow Never Dies was my favorite movie because it's just my favorite action movie. I thought it was just a very good action movie. Went out and did what it had to do. Nice, loved it, straight to the point. This movie had the psychological edge to it. So I always will rate Casino Royale a lot higher than mostly every other James Bond movie out there. I was a big fan of Lashif. That's why I don't want to see him recasted. That's why it was tomfoolery. Lashif is a very good character. Very menacing and better villain than every single other James Bond movie as far as Daniel Craig is concerned, in my opinion. Was not touched anywhere near, anywhere close. This movie is done for me.
All right.
And yet another movie in a row. I think this is like 6 at least in a row where all 4 of us gives a thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen. What does the future hold on Thursday?
The streak stops here.
Look, see, there's already a bias against my pick. See how it
Tune in
goes here.
Thursday. I will be drinking on air because I need to get through this movie. Jingle all the way.
Notice that there's always a bias here. But thanks for watching, everybody.
I like good movies.
Thanks for
Not
watching.
movies about dolls at Christmas.
Thanks for watching, Krampus.
We're going to see the streak. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see the streak does end on Thursday. It's Chrissy's Christmas movie pick as we do 4 Christmas movies. Last week was Vic. This week is coming up. It's going to be See the Superior with none other than Jingle All the Way. Looking forward to seeing this movie and reviewing it. Patrick Stewart would be great as M, and I'm going to ignore that comment. Vic, take us home.
Oh.
He's muted.
No. Okay, so here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, another 4 thumbs up. Tonight was a great night, and check us out on Thursday as we review Jingle All the Way. Full disclosure, I think it was good, but we're gonna clearly see a break of the streak this week because there's gonna be some time.
Haters.
Thursday. All right. Well, thank you once again, and have a great night.
Also, take note that Thursday we will be joined special guests. Will be 5 people here by the one and only Bad Guy Jack from UPR Wrestling and UPR Gaming. He does it all here, so he'll be here. So, are we going to see 5 thumbs up?
Jack that skipped out on The Shining, who said that he was going to be there, and then he flaked. Now he's going to be here.
So we are going to get 4 thumbs up.
No, that was Mark Wins.
Yes, you will. You will get 4 thumbs up next week.
Bye, everybody.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Because he's our Black Lightning. He's our Black Lightning co-host.